Wilbur with the board at Family Promise. I'm on the Transportation Committee, and I want to talk to you for a couple of minutes about hitching the trailer. Everybody's used to hitching a boat trailer or hitching a little utility trailer. This trailer's a little different because this is a cargo hitch. The reason I want to point out the differences is we've actually had 5 incidences where the trailer has come unhitched during transportation, and that's dangerous, and we want to avoid any accidents. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to direct the driver to back the van to get the trailer ball under the hitch. So we'd like to have a spotter back here that makes it easier. We don't have to keep jumping out and checking ourselves. But then the next thing we want to do is we want to unlock the hitch where the trailer's been stored over the weekend, and we want to unlock the hitch. The one thing that makes this different between a cargo hitch and a boat hitch is this mechanism actually slides forward and back. There's a dog leg underneath here, and what we want to be sure is the dog leg goes under the ball to latch, and when we lift this, that's going to lift the dog leg, but I can actually close this and I can lower it, and the dog leg is going to sit on top of the ball, which means the first bump we hit, the trailer's going to come loose and we're going to have problems. So I've got this open, and as we're latching, I'm either going to use the lock or I'm going to use this pin. Either one. There's a pin down here as well, but I'm going to either use the lock or the pin to intentionally lock this open. I'll take this off just so you can see it. And all we're going to do now is we're going to lower the trailer hitch onto the ball. If the van is a little too far back, it could get under that dog leg and push it up, and you can see what's happening right now. I'm actually raising the dog leg. It's going on top of the ball instead of below the ball. So I'm going to lower. If that doesn't push up, we're in good shape. The dog leg's going to go under the ball. Sweet, this is working. And I'm going to do a couple of things before I try to close this. I'm going to reach under here and make sure that that dog leg is down under the ball. I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to lock it onto the trailer ball. And I'm either going to use, again, that pin, or I'm going to use the padlock. Either one to transport. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the jack, and I'm going to do a quick test. If it's not latched, it's going to raise right up off of the ball. If it is latched, it's actually going to try to start to raise the back end of the van, which it is. So we're in good shape. So I'm going to lower this. I'm going to crank the jack. This is the jack. I'm going to crank it all the way up because we don't want to drive to the next location, to the next congregation with the jack down. It'll damage the jack. So I'm going to twist this and jack it up as far as I can go. We're there. We can store this out of the way, or we can leave it up. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the safety chains. These are the safety chains. In the event the trailer would come loose, these are protecting us. I'm going to spin them to take a little bit of the slack out, but I'm also going to cross, and I'm going to put the right chain on the left side. I'm going to put the left chain on the right side. And this is doing 2 things for us. Well, let me get rid of this pin. I'm going to store it up here out of the way. And I'm going to twist this one, take some of the slack out of it. And when I cross these 2 chains, you're going to see this creates kind of a basket. And if for some reason this ever did come disconnected, it's going to catch the hitch, and instead of dropping the trailer onto the pavement, it's going to catch it, and hopefully we'd be able to get it corrected. But if we've done all our homework, it's not going to drop. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to connect the wiring harness. This is the wiring harness. It's called a 4-pin standard wiring harness. I've got a cover on here. I'm going to check that for corrosion. If they look dirty or corroded, I'm going to take a sharp instrument and clean them off, but then I'm going to plug it together. And the last thing we're going to do before we take off is we're going to have somebody get behind the trailer, and we're going to have the driver check the brakes and check the headlights to see that the trailer lights work. If we don't have somebody to do that, then I'm going to put on the 4-way flashers and turn on the parking lights, and then I'm going to get out of the van and walk around back and make sure we've got a good connection for lights. If we don't, the problem is usually right there at that little coupler. Talking about parking for a second, what we'd like to do is get chocks behind at least one set of the wheels, ideally behind both sets of the wheels. The chocks are these pieces of wood or the rocks or tree stumps or whatever you have laying around that we put in the front of the back of the trail to keep it from rolling if it's on an incline. And then we've also got a 4x4 block that we put under the jack, and the whole purpose of the block is to give us some extra height, but also to protect the pavement so that we don't do any damage to the pavement with the jack. We just want to be sure that we get the chock and the block picked up and stored in the back of the van, and then we're ready to roll to the next congregation. Thank you.